24 Celsius on the track, 36 toasty Celsius for the Michelin tyres. That's just shy of 100 Fahrenheit, 97 Fahrenheit for this 4-hour challenge. John Heindorf and Peter Mackay in the booth, overlooking, and I really mean overlooking, from where we are on the stripe, basically 3.5 miles of some of the most taxing, challenging, and a massive variety. High speed on the high banks, and then technical, nuanced infield. Just that inside part of the circuit, that you cannot take that anything other than seriously, because that forms a really big part of the opportunity to pass here at Daytona. Peter Mackay, record grid here for the start of the season. We'll see most of these cars for the rest of the years. This is one of 2 4-hour races. It's become a tradition on Friday afternoon here in America, Friday evening racing in Europe, and we've got a huge crowd on the YouTube feed as well as on the IMSA Radio video platform as well, for those of you outside the United States. What are you expecting?
Drama, excitement, all of that, and real strategical intrigue. We were talking about it before we came up on air about how the 40-minute minimum driver time that we have to, that all the teams have to adhere to for their driver lineups, but also the 40 to 50-minute stint length, which of course doesn't quite divide up perfectly into 4 hours, does it? And it's very, very likely that we'll see at least one, maybe a couple of full course cautions, which means that the teams on the pit wall are just as important as the teams driving the cars, because getting that conundrum just right is often the secret to winning this 4-hour encounter here at the BMW M Endurance Challenge at Daytona.
So pick up some pit lane atmosphere. Arjuna Kankapardi, one of our full-time season voices on RSL and IMSA Radio. He was at the GS end of things. What's the storylines there?
So many, John. Our defending champions split up into different teams, with RS1 promoting themselves up to the IMSA WeatherTech SportsCar Championship. But let's talk strategy, because there's been a lot of talk about fuel, not so much about tyres. And there is some questions about who's starting this race on their qualifying tyres and who's elected to use a set of sticker Michelins. Why is this important, John? Because at the end of the race, if you start this race on stickers, you will end on scrubs. And we've talked about the Ford Mustang maybe having one weakness: its tyre management over the course of the stint, and therefore that choice of tyre compound to open up the GS 4-hour race is going to be crucial.
Second voice for the first part of the race, and for our countdown to green, Duncan Vincent enjoying his first visit to Daytona International Speedway, and first time for us covering the pit lane for IMSA Radio. You were looking at the TCR, and the big news there is that the pole sitter isn't the pole sitter.
No, the pole sitter isn't the pole sitter. That's exactly true, John, and that turned things up on their head just that little bit. I'm going to keep my eyes on that car that isn't pole, because remember, that stopped late in practice. Let's hope everything is okay.
That's the 77 that has inherited the pole position for Celso Neto, waiting for the BMW to pull into the pit lane, which it does now. The field is under control of Matthias Leitz and the VPX, Porsche, Toyota, Ford, BMW, Aston, Toyota for the top 6. Here they come. The green flag's in the air. 4 hours on the clock, and we're racing for our Friday afternoon A-Main. It's the IMSA Michelin Pilot Challenge BMW Endurance Challenge. Paul Sitter holds on to the lead through the first 2 corners as they transition from the slightly lower banking, albeit of the tri-oval, onto the infield. Here comes the TCR. Field to the green flag, slightly split field. And once again, the pole sitter holds on to that lead as the leading Mustang has opened up, what, 5, 6, 7, maybe 10 car lengths through the kink for the first time and to the western end of the infield.
Those Ford Mustangs have been strong all week long, and Nate Cicero making no hesitation at all in those early couple of sectors, using the grunt of that Coyote V8 to try and pull away early and try and get a safe position, try and control the race early on. But a huge stream of GS machinery flowing through turn 6 and 7 at the moment, with last year's winner, the Ibiza Farm McLaren, deep in the pack. Not a good qualifying for them yesterday, and they will be hoping to try and make their way closer to the front right now. But Cicero is pulling away from the Rafa Racing GR Supra. Then it's the first of the BMWs who've been pretty quiet all week, it has to be said, and Sean McAllister for Carbahn with Pelican Racing, the 39 car, moving up into 3rd position already. That's a fantastic start there for the BMW driver. Through the Le Mans chicane they go. Got to take it nice and easy through there to start with, as the Michelin tyres come up to temperature and pressure and into their optimum operating window. But with track temperature approaching 100 degrees Fahrenheit right now, they're going to have to look after those tyres, as Arjuna mentioned.
At IMSA Radio, if you want to get in touch with us. Clean first 3.56 miles. Welcome to you if you're joining us for this Fast Friday main event here at the track on 107.9 around the world on RS2, part of the Radio Show Limited network of channels. We got the video player on IMSARadio.com as well if you're outside the US, and you'll also, if you are outside the US, be able to watch on IMSA's official YouTube channel without any interruption. Already on the pit lane, we have a pit lane caller, and it's the number 7
car?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the drive-through,
That is the yes, that is the drive-through. Late notification of the chassis change. That's the JDC Miller car. I tell you, that slightly confused me there, because it's a slight change of livery.
It caught me out too. It's a complete change of
Yeah.
livery. It used to be yellow and black.
Correct.
A similar theme to their 963 that they run in IMSA WeatherTech, but total change, white, red and black.
I mean, I'm never going to turn my nose up at a red, white and black car, to be honest. But yeah, that is a big change for that team. Got the car to the grid, but unfortunately, it was the paperwork that has caught them out there. So Nate Cicero then leading out for the Ford team, as that number 17 has a bit of catch-up to do. Macumbi Macaleer Racing Ford by nearly 0.4 of a second. That's the new chassis. Now, does that mean that if they've changed the chassis, is that actually not their car, and that's why it's not in their colours? Because that's in the VRS colours, isn't it?
Yeah.
That must be the VRS's spare car, that's why.
That makes sense.
That makes a heck of a more sense,
yeah,
yes.
Yeah, okay. That was what threw us off there. I had quite a few white, red and black Porsches in the past. RS1 won with a white, red, black Porsche, but here comes at turn 1, trying to go around the outside. The big Mustang number 13 can't quite do it, and that's actually just opened up an opportunity now for the 39 of Sean McAllister in the Carbahn BMW. Always a threat, that car, and now all over the back of the Supra as they head through the international horseshoe for the second time of asking. But the Mustang now, Cicero pulling away. It's got great grunt out the corners.
Yeah, this GT4 version of the GR Supra, as we have to call it. We know we're going to get a GR GT3 next year, as Toyota have embarked on a global rebrand for all of their racing programs. Toyota Racing for the World Endurance Championship hybrids, and pretty much everything else will come under the GR brand, which will be their performance brand, much as Seat begat Cupra as a separate brand from just their sportier models. Well, you can also look at AMG, I suppose, for Mercedes, the BMW M brand as well. Well, that's going to be GR for everything Toyota, Lexus, sporty, including the street cars as well. Side by side on the high banks, coming down into the braking area. Further back in field, it's two Porsches. Who's the last of the late breakers? Well, that was Matty Stewart.
What's that?
In
Brother,
Ooh, baby, do you know what that's worth?
brother,
Ooh, heaven is a place on earth.
Racing car sitting in behind this is a drafter's paradise. Whether it's the Mazdas that we had this morning, if you haven't seen that, by the way, put yourself about 45-50 minutes aside. I will have no spoilers. We've had 2 races. Put yourself an hour and a half aside and sit down and watch that on the YouTube archive. These cars move a decent amount of air, Peter, and that means, as that's a big late drive from the Shopify car. We had one of the Turner BMWs going wide there. That was the 96 car, wasn't it? The yellow and black car, and straight off for Maddie Stewart. Now, is there damage on that car that's caused her to pull off? She'll have to get back on in the shortcut. That's the motorcycle part of the eastern end of the infield. Well, no, she's okay.
Looks like there's a bit of damage to the front right of the car.
Well, that's what I thought. There was a touch.
Maddie Stewart's debut in the series. Oh, gets nerfed out by Trevor Hill, but strangely, the contact was on the left-hand side, but it's like the front bumper's just got dislodged slightly on the right-hand side. So
I was worried about steering arm, potential steering arm damage. There was quite significant side-to-side contact there on the left-hand side of Madeline's car. I think she's got away with that.
we have quite a privileged position here for many reasons in the Ford Racing Global Broadcast Centre. One is the view. It's like looking at the world's biggest slot car track out of the window here, but also we're next door to race control, and there that is being replayed back and forth and being reviewed as we speak.
Yeah, we don't take that for granted, because we're in a very, as Peter says, privileged position to be able to be here and see that. So Madeline needs to gather her thoughts, which she's doing very nicely. She's put a good lap together, coming under pressure slightly now from Roland Kreintz in the Autotechnic BMW, the number 27 car. But she is, this is a long race, and her job is to get to the pit stop. Now, let's just keep an eye on this at the moment. The small, the 718 Cayman looks compared to that BMW coming around the high side into turn one, but that's not going to go through. That, by the way, is the battle for 27th and 28th position. Let's head further up the field. Second place, Paul Holton for Team TGM, and their second car a little bit further down. TGM is where we find Arjuna Kankapati.
And I'm with Paul's teammate Matt Plum, who comes into 2026 tied with Billy Johnson for the most wins in IMSA Michelin Pilot Challenge. But the big change is a brand new car, and it's been a couple of years where you've been jumping across the manufacturers. Matt, how are you loving the Mustang life here at Daytona?
Wow, it's an amazing car. Ted Giovannis, when he made the decision to change, I'm an F-150 driver, so I have some loyalty to the brand. And it's been spectacular. We've just got it, had a couple test days to kind of sort things out. We're still working on it. We've got a great engineer with Brian Ma who's helping kind of sort out all the little things we need to sort out. But it's amazing. And what company sends their CEO down to pit to the grid to wish us luck? That just gives me motivation, and it gives me a lot of pride in an American brand.
I love to hear that Jim's that involved, but you talk about the motivation coming into the season tied with Billy for the most wins. I've got to assume that gives you some motivation as well.
Yeah, I'm not a young man anymore. I've been doing this for a long time. I've seen IMSA through all different configurations. It's never been so strong as it is with, John Doonan at the helm. And yeah, Billy, I'm going to get that guy. We've been competing against each other for a long time. I have a lot of respect for him. He's a great driver, but still want to beat him.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All the more reason to beat him. If he's good and you beat him, it means you're good, doesn't it?
And has been the gold standard for the Blue Oval. Let's be absolutely honest about that. As Nate Cicero continues to lead 1.8 seconds at the front of the field. This is a nice, clean start, other than that slight contact that we saw earlier on, and that incident still under review. And as I say that, Mike Fitzpatrick for 89X Motorsport Vantage, who was either leading or second in the Bronze Cup, he was battling with Darren Law, and they were side by side, and I think that car's slowed down at turn 3, so just at the back of the pit lane.
Got back going again.
Has he got back going
Yeah,
again? Yes, he has.
timing information, yes. So
Okay.
that's good.
So he stayed green.
But that might, the problem is though, that'll probably chuck him behind all the TCRs or within the TCR cars, which then will really slow the pace down. So the thing is, the front-running TCR machines often find themselves melding with the back of the GS field. Because the lap time delta isn't massive between them. I mean, fastest lap of the race so far in GS is actually Dylan McIvern in 20th position at the moment, a 1:54.8. The best lap for our leader in TCR, which is Mason Filippi in the Hyundai, who's got past the pole sitter, is a 1:59.2. So there isn't a great deal of difference between even the fastest GS. But then when you compare some of the cars running lower down in GS, it's pretty much the same lap time to the front runners in TCR. So traffic management, very important here in Michelin Pilot Challenge.
So Mason Filippi did nip past Chelto Neto and Rocco Pasquarella to leapfrog them into the lead. LP Monto for Honda in 4th place in the number 93 car. Lance Bergstein then in 5th and 6th. Preston Brown as the Brian Herter Autosport with Curb, Agajani and Elantras begin to work their way forward. But what about this? From the back of the grid, Franco Girolami is up to, let me see, 7th position from the back of the grid. That car had pace in qualifying and clearly has pace in the race.
Only 3.7 seconds off the leader already as the Hondas are trying to sort it out. The 93 of LP Montour from Montreal Motorsport having a lunge as, oh no, spin, oh, if it doesn't rain it pours. Spin for the JDC Miller Porsche